let's move on to some of the cooler parts of the exclusives. The box's final member and only Decepticon is also its winner. This is Scourge, and he has been just that to many people's wallets on the aftermarket. Scourge is a repaint of Cybertron's Sideways, or Galaxy Force's Noise Maze, and it really does work, I think, as an alternate version to his usual flying shoeboat vehicle mode. The colors are quite excellent. They're a little bit more on the purple side of blue than the more turquoise and sky blue that one is used to with Scourge, but I think they work. To show you him next to his Japanese predecessor, Noise Maze, you can see there's quite a stark difference in color aesthetic. Noise Maze also has the advantage of all this chrome and whatnot, and basically being a Death Halloween thing. But Scourge, I actually dare say, pulls off a bit of a better and more durable look in that he is covered in a lot of good spots with, yes, once again, the Super Krylon silver paint. And it's used copiously on him and in great places. So, to show you his robot mode and his very unique head sculpt, Scourge is definitely a toy that is not highly photogenic, I have found, but in a good way. He doesn't look all that great in photos, and his new head definitely looks very odd, but up close, I think it actually pulls off the look quite well. It's got everything you need for Scourge. It's got the evil robo-goatee, and it even has his forehead thing. It's just recessed down, so it's no longer sticking off the top of his head. I actually think that kind of works. The only downside of the head is it's extremely thin to fit into this cockpit area, but I think it is a lot better than I expected, and it's also blessed with a lot of that nice Krylon silver, but to prevent losing details, the mustache and beard are done up in white, which looks really, really striking. To compare him to his predecessor, Noise Maze, you'll definitely see, again, a stark difference in color schemes, but the aesthetic, I think, in the ways it works for Noise Maze, it works differently for Scourge. Scourge's cape, another trademark aspect of him, is actually carried over in the form of the stuff here in the back. I'm just really surprised with how well this turned out. It fits in incredibly well with the Universe Classics Heralds of Unicron, and I think that's the really important thing this guy needed to do, is we needed an updated Scourge in some fashion, and I think this guy actually works pretty well. His Force Chip Cyber Planet Key thingy is done up in the same blue as the rest of his body, and sadly there was a missed opportunity here. Unlike Noise Maze, there's no symbol in here, and then when you put this in, there is still no symbol. This could have been used for some really cool stuff. A Unicron symbol or something like that. It could have been done, I think, way cooler, and I think that's the biggest missed potential on this guy. But overall, he looks pretty cool, and especially if you put the knives in his hands and stuff, he looks like a very decent Nouveau-style Unicron Herald. And when, placed with his soul buddies, he's definitely got a cool look going on that fits in quite well with the others. Now, I admit, one thing that helps this look be more convincing is that only one of these three is a really ball-bustingly excellent toy, namely Cyclonus. Galvatron, personally, actually, I don't mind the toy much, but he is a very weak toy, and he's short. And Scourge is the right size to go with him, and that really helps. It just means Cyclonus is a tall guy. However, Scourge isn't alone. Thanks to the power of @Convention Souvinirs, this motley trio can also be flanked by another trio of sweeps. And the sweeps, as you can see, are identical to Scourge, but done up in more of a turquoise, with less red and more of a golden orange. And I really like the way the sweeps were done, especially since this vehicle mode is a very neat kind of drone-style vehicle. So imagining just a swarm of these things flying in, and then just a whole bunch of those guys, I actually find a really cool visual. I think it works out really well. And then when you assemble everyone all together, you've got your sweep, you've got Scourge, you've got Galvatron, you've got Cyclonus, and you've even got, and his armada, things get pretty epic. Not to mention that thanks to Kal-El Prime, I discovered that and his Armada's Target Master can fit into Scourge's hand like a glove. So now Scourge and Cyclonus have their own personal Target Master sidearms, and their background buddies are just armed for bear. And then amidst all this chaos, you've got one more hovering around over here, you got one more hovering around back here, and you've got just a whole little clan of Unicron minions. So Scourge and the Sweeps, I think, are really worth it if you're a fan of Galvatron and Cyclonus and Scourge and the whole Unicron thing. These guys all go together really nicely. And there was one extra bonus with these guys, which not many people are into, but I thought was really genius. While Scourge got his own bio card, you know, that's all well and good. They went really the extra mile on the sweeps. So Scourge is the sweep commander, but did you know that we didn't just get sweeps, we specifically got Sweep 2, the close combat specialist with his wide open mouth. We also got Sweep 6, the tactician, whose mouth is closed and pensive. And we got Sweep 7, the weapons officer, whose mouth is only slightly open as he chuckles, for you've underestimated the power of Sweep 7. This even extends to their instruction manuals, and this is where I really fell in love with the sweeps, who I quite honestly was expecting to see as forgettable background material. Even their instructions are for Sweep 7, Sweep 2, and Sweep 6. This is something that makes the sweeps really special, and I've got to say that if you're going to go after any exclusives for the sake of adding to your own classics display, make it Scourge and the Sweeps, because they don't just look the part, but they actually have character. And giving these three sweeps their own little quirks, it's not really expanded on in the comic book, but I am just really in love with the idea that every sweep is only named by number, yet still has his own individuality. So I'm really into how they did the sweeps, and they are really big winners out of the set for me. Scourge as well, but the sweeps were quite a surprise in how much I like them. Moving along,